Welcome to Nooska. Hello, and welcome back to Nooska. It is me, Evie, and I am here with Connie.
Hi.
We have a surprise, relaxed fit episode for you today. Now, I know that in the last episode, we talked about this episode was going to be the body neutrality episode. Well, considering the current state of things in the world, especially in America, because as you can tell from my honky tonk accent, I am an American, just didn't really feel like a good fit at the moment. Really heavy, I think, for everybody. Everybody is quite worried after the murder of Renee Good. Obviously, in Minneapolis, things have escalated to a point where none of us can really ignore them anymore. So, in light of that, we wanted to do something a little bit lighter today. Not because we're ignoring anything, but because I think we could all use a little bit of lightness, a little bit of looseness. So, we're just going to have some fun today, talk about things that interest us, do a little check-in on some ridiculous pop culture stuff, and just kind of have a good time with it. What do you think, Connie?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we find little pockets of joy because nothing feels joyful when you open it in most apps. So open this app and feel a little bit of joy, and it'll be okay for half an hour, and then
Yeah.
you back into whatever it is you've chosen for your focal point for the day.
Exactly. Yeah, because we're obviously entering a period of time that is not going to be pleasant, nor is it probably going to be very short. So we've got to find the balance in things, I think, and yeah, you find lightness where we can find it, which kind of allows us to recharge so that we can do the heavy lifting that day-to-day life is going to require moving forward. That's my personal opinion. That's how I kind of look at it. I'm not going to stop laughing or poking fun at celebrities.
Yeah, we love doing some of that. We love doing some.
So I think maybe we just start with that at the top of this episode. A little pop culture temperature check-in. Go over some of these ridiculous stories because if one thing is never going to stop, it is the world of Hollywood spin and scandal. These celebrities are completely isolated in a bubble and their lives are as messy and ridiculous as they were 150 years ago. And lo and behold, as the world burns, we still have absolutely ridiculous news coming out of Hollywood, which will surprise no one. Where should I start? Where do you want me to start, Connie? Should we start with Diddy? Should we start with Taylor and Travis? Should we talk Alex Earl? What do you think?
Oh, oh. I want to start with Diddy. I don't know who Alex Earl is, but I feel like that one can go second.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do Alex Earl second. Right. So with Diddy, at the end of the year last year, Diddy actually had some new legal ghosts that cropped up, not only from the 50 Cent documentary, which was really Diddy's documentary that got leaked unedited, but there is new
Oh,
sexual assault allegations coming up from 20 and 21 that are
stop
now being
it.
investigated by police in Florida and in Los Angeles. It was a music producer who worked with Diddy through, of all people, Biggie's son, Notorious B.I.G.'s son. They were producing music together. He got introduced to Diddy, and then he claimed in 2020, and then again in 2021, he was sexually assaulted by Diddy. The one in 2021 that's been alleged that the LA police are investigating, he was supposedly like kidnapped. He had a bag put over his head and was taken somewhere, and then with the like forcibly, sexually assaulted by Diddy in front of these other men who held him down while it happened and all this kind of stuff. So his legal troubles are not over. He can still be charged with tons of other stuff, and it looks like that might be exactly what happens.
I am stone-faced shocked. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Because
Yeah.
there's that whole rumor of like Diddy being the one who hired the person to kill Tupac, right? Like there's
Yeah.
that whole
Also, Brittany Murphy rumors are now coming
oh,
up. Associations with Prince, because there was also like some kind of fiasco with Prince that happened right before Prince died. Like, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
that makes me sad. That makes me sad. So sad. There's that whole thing with Michael Jackson too, like right before he died, how he was like
Yeah.
finding out about what was happening over in Palestine.
Yeah.
Like,
Weird stuff. There's weird stuff. So we'll see what happens. Diddy's currently serving a 50-month sentence. I think he's being held in the same prison as Nicolas Maduro and Luigi Mangione. They're all in the same prison, I believe.
what's cooked though is that he's what you said 50 months, 50,
Yeah,
right?
50 months. That's it.
Okay, for like all the things he did, he gets 50 months.
Yeah.
But like any Joe Blog down the street does anything remotely close to what he
Yeah.
gets, and they're on a full life sentence. Like
Correct.
this
Yeah.
is the pull of money and fame within
Exactly.
a prison system. You know,
Hmm.
like
A hundred
he's
percent. 100%.
he's
It's
worth
disgusting.
more out and putting money into lawyers and into the court systems than he
Hmm.
is in the actual prison. So of
Yeah.
course he's got a sentence that is reduced. And if he doesn't screw anyone in the pooch while he's in there,
Hmm.
yeah, he'd probably get out early with good behavior.
Exactly. That's exactly the problem. We might see them pull like an OJ Simpson thing where OJ Simpson got away with the murder and then he was so hated and it was kind of accepted that it was such a miscarriage of justice that the next kind of crime he committed when he robbed a store in Las Vegas to steal some of his memorabilia back, and they threw the absolute book at him because they were essentially like, yeah, we're going to get you now for what we couldn't get you for the murders. So we might see something like that. I think a lot of the blame is on New York, and they're notorious for this. They did a very similar thing with John Gotti the first couple of times when he got away, where they tried to get him with these grandiose RICO charges, which are so hard to prove. It is so hard to prove full RICO charges. They would have been better off like hitting him with, 140 counts of sexual assault than trying to prove a whole racketeering
It's like
network. So,
that whole thing where, like, if you charge someone, I don't know if this is in my country, but from what I know about American stuff, like, you charge someone with something, if you don't have enough evidence, you've got
mhm.
like a certain amount of hours before not only do you have to release them, but like you're now in court. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
you have to go to court for that now. Like, it's not a slow process. It's not a oh
Yeah.
you're done. Like you
It's
have to
it's
go through and prove everything.
it's very, very messy because it's also like state and federal trials are completely different, and someone can get away at a state level and then they can't be charged at a federal. There's like different things that happen depending on what the charges are. I highly recommend. There's a documentary, I think it was a Netflix documentary, unfortunately, but it was a very good documentary. It was about John Gotti in New York and them trying to get him with RICO charges. And it's a very, very similar thing. And they literally, like, the FBI talks about it in there, like how they struggled to get them because New York wanted to charge RICO and then they couldn't prove everything, and then they blocked the FBI from getting involved. It's a mess. It's a mess. But we might see him go down for other stuff that they can actually prove, and they might get their revenge on the other side if 50 Cent has anything to
Like
say
you
about
cannot
it.
have that much baby oil. Seriously,
Yeah.
like you're like I know as a crafty bitch, I know that you can like store and preserve like dried flowers in baby oil and mineral
Huh.
oil, but I don't see no pretty dried flowers in this.
No, no. So yeah, that story is not over yet. We're gonna see what kind of plays out with these new allegations and whether or not he's gonna serve any time for that.
I want to
Moving
be
on to
cocky.
Alex Earl. Should we do
Yeah,
Alex
okay.
Earl? So I
Yeah.
don't actually know that much about Alex Earl. I just know that she is her family is super, super, super rich, and she's an influencer. She's like an Instagram, TikTok influencer, millions of followers, showcasing rich girl lifestyle, yada yada yada. She's now being
Mhm.
seen out and about with Tom Brady. And the talk around them is that it's a PR relationship. It's a PR relationship. It's to make him look good, which I don't know how dating a TikTok influencer makes anybody look good, but that's the kind of story around them. Now, where I kind of find the Alex Earl story interesting is she comes from a rich family, but it's not like she's the daughter of Jeff Bezos, right? I don't think her family are billionaires. Maybe they are. But she seems to live a lifestyle that she doesn't necessarily have the income to support. So there's been rumors for a long time that she's a rent girl, and that a lot of these high profile, like, I just pose like this in my clothes and millions of people follow me, that these people are rent girls. She apparently was stuck in St. Bart's, where all the billionaires were over Christmas and New Year. She got stuck down there. Where that gets
One
interesting
time
is,
we could have gotten rid of every single one of them, and no
yeah.
one did a thing.
Well,
So
well,
pissed.
the universe did kind of get them because there was a huge chlamydia outbreak apparently through St. Bart's. And there was a bacterial infection that a lot of them, Bethany Frankel from The Real Housewives was showing she got this huge bacterial infection in her face. And she ended up leaving early because she was like, it's just disgusting down here. There's now allegations. This is all allegedly. This is rumors coming from people who work on the boats in St. Bart's, but they're saying Alex Earl was allegedly patient zero for the big chlamydia outbreak that happened. Now, of course, this is all just tabloid fodder bullshit nonsense, right? But what I find, Connie is absolutely cracking up. What I find interesting is that to me, this just smacks of like, so Tom Brady parading around this woman that there's all these rumors that she's like spreading chlamydia and that she is a yacht girl. To me, it's exactly like the rich fuckers in the Gilded Age with their little courtesans, like the lords over here in England that would flounce around their rich French courtesan on their arms, even though everyone knew he was married to like Lady Margaret. It's just that. It just feels like that.
I just looked her up and I was like, she just looks like a taller version of that Sabrina chick that we talked about the other week.
Yeah, she looks like Bonnie
so
Blue.
Ariana.
She looks like that Bonnie Blue that got arrested in.
She's like a mix between Sabrina and Bonnie Blue. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And they're all just a carbon copy of each other.
Yeah.
It's that American blonde hair, blue-eyed fucking crazy bitch who
like 80s
basically
rich
dudes,
white lady, rich
yeah,
coked up
dudes want to
skinny.
fuck her, but they don't want to actually keep her because
Yes.
she's like with every goddamn human on the block. And that's fine if that's your job and that's how you make money, but like you keep yourself clean. Like that's
Yeah.
what those tests are for.
Yeah.
Like it's just a couple pills, guys.
Ooh. So we didn't sink their boats, maybe, but we sunk their boats in another way, if you know what I'm
Oh,
saying. Someone went down there and just bombed the place in chlamydia.
ah,
So that is what would be super funny is like all those videos going around of Jeff Bezos and his wife like partying in St. Bart's. Like, yeah, they probably have chlamydia. It's just not as glamorous anymore, is it?
oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's Alex Earl and Tom Brady. Are they a PR relationship? Yeah, probably. But who knows? Like it's just there. Who cares about Tom Brady anyways? He sucks. He's a cheater. Right. So the other little story and controversy, Jelly Roll, who I don't follow because he's not my political cup of tea. He suddenly dropped a ton of weight. He's suddenly skinny. Suddenly very, very
He's a
skinny. He says,
musician though, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's
It's
like a
like he
rapper
has
or
a
something.
really like he was one of those like everyone was real like weirded out like or like something to do with his missus. She's like
Bunny.
super fucking hot.
Yeah.
She's hot. She's
Yep.
funny. She's like a total package.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Why are you with this big cunt?" And she's like, "Cause he's good to me."
Yeah. And they're
Like
both
what?
right wing as fuck, it turns
Oh
out.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah, that
But
makes sense.
he's lost a ton of weight. He's like, it's natural, it's natural, it's natural.
Ozempic.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't trust any fucking celebrity who all of a
Everyone who's
sudden
gotten
drops
skinny in
three
the last
people.
5 years.
He's lost like 300 pounds, man. The dude he's lost multiple people in weight. And he's like, no, I did it all naturally. Bullshit. You would have done it
No.
naturally years ago when you had the money and you were a celebrity, if that's what it was.
No, because
Bullshit, bullshit,
when we think
bullshit.
about weight loss and healthy weight loss, you look at people that are like how Lizzo lost weight and how
Hmm.
Megan the Stallion started a really specific gym care routine. Those are things that actually sculpted their bodies in a specific way. And it didn't mean
Hmm.
that they were losing extreme amounts of weight. They were
Yeah.
toning up their body because one, they have the money to have a personal trainer or someone doing their like books and stuff, keeping them on schedule. When you're like dropping hundreds of pounds out of nowhere and you have the money to do all
Yeah.
these other things and it's not something that you're vocally talking about, that you don't have a routine that you can share, you don't have a food list you can like tap into.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, everyone's gonna think you're on the pills, like
100%.
duh. And
100%.
then
So,
you're a right winger too. Of course you're going to be like, give me the pills. I'm
yeah.
lazy. I don't have a brain cell in my fucking throat to fix anything in
Yeah.
real ways. So just give me the
I don't
pill.
buy it. I don't buy it. And it's the same with Lizzo, and everybody still jumps on my case. They're like, Lizzo's been eating healthy and exercising for years. I was like, yeah, exactly. And she didn't lose 200 pounds suddenly in 6 months. And she was showing us for years she's been working out and she's been eating healthy and she had the body that she had. And then all of a sudden in 6 months, she loses 2 people in size and she suddenly stops showing her eating anything and she has no muscle tone. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you guys can lie to yourselves, don't lie to me. I don't
And
care.
I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm not trying to like defend anyone because I'm like, I'm iffy about any massive amounts of weight loss. But I did see a thing where she went from being like intensely vegan, so having like lots of those fake processed meats and stuff,
Mm,
to like eating meat and dairy and stuff like that again.
yeah.
So like, I wouldn't be surprised if like that is a massive contributor, because as someone who hasn't been able to have a lot of meat and I've had to find a lot of alternatives for dairy as well, like I have gained a bit of weight that I didn't expect to gain. I'm happy for the weight. Trust
Yeah.
me, I was not a healthy weight prior, so I'm grateful for it.
Hmm.
But like, like there's
Yeah.
elements there where I'm like, but like she has access to the pills. All of those rich
Yeah,
people do.
they're all on the
All of
weight
them.
loss shots. The day I unfollowed her was on she posted her birthday video and she showed herself sniffing her birthday cake and then she showed other people eating her birthday cake and she never showed herself eating her birthday cake. And I went, "Yeah, I'm out. I've been around eating disorder Tumblr long enough to know what the fuck
No,
that was when with
no,
video of you sniffing your
no,
cake. Get out of
no.
here. Get out of here."
You
And
know
then
that's
filming
real.
everyone else eating it. Get out of here. Like, take your weight loss shots and your eating disorder and get the fuck off my screen.
I'm literally going to get a cake made for my birthday this year, is what I've decided I'm going to do for myself, because like I'm not
Yay.
a big celebrating person, but there's a place that makes really yummy like dairy-free cakes
Oh, that's
at
brilliant.
the town here, and they're like super fancy, and I'm just literally going to eat it from I'm going to lift the
Hell yeah.
whole cake to my face and eat from
I
it
love
because it's
birthday
going to
cake,
be
man.
delicious.
Ugh. I could eat birthday cake and ice cream every day. It's my favorite fucking flavor in the world. It's amazing.
Like
Amazing.
cake can be any flavor, dude, and you're like, it's my favorite flavor. And I'm like,
Yes. Yeah.
cake. Cake is
Yes.
your favorite
Cake and ice
food.
cream. Just cake and ice cream. Except I'm a bit on German chocolate cake. Don't know about that too much. Don't love the
What about
coconut and
self-saucing pudding? Have you ever made a self-saucing pudding before? Oh
uh-uh.
my God, I'm going to send you a recipe after this. It's the easiest shit you're ever going to make, and you're going to like literally die over it. You
Oh,
can
hell
make it
yeah.
in a,
Hell yeah. Oh
it's
yeah,
so
no, I'm
good.
down for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and you can do
Absolutely.
like a date one and a caramel one, but like the chocolate one's the stock standard, and it's fucking
Send it to me
badass.
ASAP.
Yeah,
ASAP.
yeah.
ASAP. All right, the last little story on this little pop culture extravaganza, Taylor and Travis. Quite the
Ugh.
turn, quite the twist in Miss Americana being presented. The PR is PRing. So recently in People magazine, there's been multiple stories about essentially Travis being a drunk. They're also bringing up stuff about his charities, like all this questionable stuff around Travis that has never been printed before in these outlets. Again, People magazine, which are very much supposed to be basically everyone just assumes they're like paid off by Taylor Swift's PR people. But there's all these negative stories essentially coming out, which are painting this as not ideal because remember, we're like supposed to be 6 months away from their wedding, allegedly 5 months away from
Wait,
their wedding.
that quickly. God, it hasn't even
Yeah.
been that long that they've been engaged with that little blood diamond thing on her finger.
Yeah. They're supposed to be getting married the day before her birthday, which is, yeah, really gross. Or it's something weird like that. So there's some weird. I was like, that's a weird day to pick that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
But there's
that's
no
such a
stories about it.
narcissistic
There's no
thing to
stories
do,
about
though.
like,
Stacking celebrations so that
yeah,
there's a consistent flow of everyone eyes on her.
yeah, but if you look at like past mega celebrity weddings, this is when they are posting things about like where are the flowers coming from? What dress might be getting worn? What's being planned? Is there going to be a girls' trip? Like all of this kind of stuff. And there's crickets. There's none of that. It's all Travis was too drunk to answer his phone when Taylor Swift tried to call him after a shooting and like just all this really negative stuff. And then there's also these videos being put out of her being drunk, coming out of places with him drunk. It's just there's cracks starting to show in the foundation, and this charity story is really now starting to build that one of his charities looks very dubious to the point that he's moved money away from one of those charities into a different charity, which is making it look even more kind of dodgy. So there's ideas. There's ideas. I think they're staging for a breakup so that she can make a ton of money as a victim because Taylor Swift makes her that's when she makes the most money is when she's a victim of a man, right?
Yeah,
So
she's got enough money to like end world hunger, and she's just casually like, "No, I need more." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's absolute mess. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they get married, maybe they don't. I don't know how lost in the sauce she is, but it's all PR. It's all money. Like it's all money. So whatever is being put out there, whatever's being allowed to be said, it's because it makes them money. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the cracks in this kind of like perfect like Miss Americana kind of thing, it's that I think that's over, which I've got a full breakdown of that, which is going to be coming out in the next couple of days on my other podcast, which is Scandal Queens, which is my pop culture podcast where I kind of dig into this stuff a little bit more and kind of deconstruct this cult of celebrity that so many people have fallen into. So you can head over to Scandal Queens wherever you're listening to this. You can go and listen to Scandal Queens, but I'm going to do a full marketing audit breakdown of Taylor Swift and how the brand itself has now alienated itself from its fan base in such a way that they can't survive that. Like I know people are like, oh, well, they're worth billions, they can survive anything. Not the collapse of the fan base. And she's formatted a very specific fan base, and without their kind of ravenous support, she's going to struggle to have any kind of longevity. Remember, it costs a lot of money to look that cheap. So yeah, we'll see.
I
We'll see
mean,
what happens.
she's like that mega famous. Like even I've noticed that like anytime ridiculously famous person will drop an album, like for months and months and months after, you'll continually hear their music. And I'm just like, I'm not seeing it in like reels or in TikToks or any kind of like video format stuff that would
Yeah.
usually have sound bites with it.
Mhm.
Like you just don't see them unless it's on like a paid advert. And
Exactly.
like that alone says a
Yeah.
lot. Like, and I've never been in like into like big fandom type of stuff unless you like want to talk about like Metalocalypse, the
Mhm.
show.
I
Like
love
there's
that
some
show.
serious fandom
It's good.
vibes over there for me. But like I've always noticed like anytime a big artist does a new album, like for forever, like if I get their dumbass fucking song stuck in my head,
Yeah.
and I cannot even tell you a tune that has come from her stuff. So like even then, like
It's
that
totally
tells me that
forgettable.
that fan base is not only not pushing her music this time, like
No.
they're tapping out.
They are. They are. My comments are filled with Swifties who are like, right, okay, I get it now. That yeah, I'm out. I feel like an idiot for
What?
buying filled on Instagram and
Been
TikTok.
friends, and
Yeah.
I've literally watched those Swifties try and tear you an
Yeah.
asshole and fail
No, they're starting
so
to agree with me.
often.
They're starting
Oh
to
my
agree with me.
God,
And that
what
video
is
that I just
happening
posted
in this
another
world?
viral video about her because I saw a bunch of Swifties talking about Joe Alwyn's an alcoholic. And I was like, well, look at all this proof that Taylor's an alcoholic. And I have Swifties in the comments who are like, I usually hate everything you have to say, but you're not wrong about this. This is 100% true. Yeah,
They
yeah.
really do hate watch you, don't they?
They hate consume everything I make. Yeah, 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 yeah. They'll be listening to this podcast right now. They're definitely going to listen to the episode I've got coming out next week on her. Yeah,
Guys,
yeah.
sorry I hate your
Hi guys.
skin.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens because she's alienating her fan base. She's completely alien. Her brand is alienating the fan base, and this is not like a new thing. There's a whole branch of like business studies that's about this. It's about like I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's an alienation. It's brand alienation. Desyncing,
Yeah,
I think, is what it's called.
shouldn't
But
have said human. I should have said trash wench, but still, it's okay.
we'll let it slide when you say it to a billionaire. But yeah, so it's a hot mess, and it's going to be funny to see her business collapse like Enron. So they
Yeah,
were
well, I mean,
multi-billion dollar
like,
business too.
there are things in Dolly Parton's past
Hmm.
that, like, are shady as fuck that
Yeah.
you're like, you wouldn't think Dolly Parton would have ever, like, participated in. And her fan base is still stuck around because she's authentic in owning up to
Hmm.
the shit that happened, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Taylor's like, no,
Never gonna happen.
I'm afraid of being shot, so I'm going to walk behind a bulletproof
She's so
glass.
full of
So,
shit,
like,
dude. She's like
you know,
so full of shit. And she has she if she had the back well, she's got a backbone. We've seen it. It's shaped like a fucking Mississippi Delta
scoliosis.
S. But she now has the kind of celebrity status that if she would actually just like stand up and be authentic and like be a powerful, independent, embodied woman, everyone would love her. Everyone would love her. Everyone would like eat out of the palm of her hand like Dolly Parton, but she can't because she's a coward. She's like a coward with no self-worth. She's completely insecure. She's a narcissist. Never gonna happen. She's got no backbone.
Yeah, that self-image is too important to her.
Oh yeah, and the money. Money, 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 and daddy.
At least
Her
Dolly
right-wing
Parton,
daddy. She wants to make him
well,
happy.
Dolly Parton created a full persona with who she become for her
Hmm.
music, whereas
Yeah.
Taylor's like, no, this is me, and you have to love me,
Yeah,
love
you
me.
have to. You have to. You have to. Right. So yeah, that's little Hollywood checkup. Again, if you want to hear more about that kind of stuff, you can head over to Scandal Queens and listen to that kind of stuff. Right. So what do you think, Connie? Do you think we should do a history, like a quick little history download, or should we do special interests?
Why not? Why
Special
not? Let's look
interest
into
dumps.
history. Let's look into history because technically history is your favorite special interest dump anyway. So like
Technically
it's
it
a
is, yeah. But let's
double,
see if
it's
I
a
can do
double
this
win.
in under 30 seconds. It's not so much like a history download as like, please go and Google and read everything you can about this. I've been reading a lot. The history stuff that I'm kind of focused on at the moment is the French Resistance. And I feel like I've been screaming that on TikTok every
There
5 seconds. The French Resistance, the French Resistance, the French Resistance. Americans don't seem to know shit about the French Resistance because they just buy into like America saved World War II.
Well,
When
of course they wouldn't know about the French Resistance. It would like imagine the American public who are allowed guns knowing about one of the biggest revolutions that like shaped society.
Yeah, like shock, shock, shock. But it was during World War II, Germany takes over, the Nazis take over France, and people think that the French just rolled over and took it, and then America came in and put the boot in and saved things, and that's not how that happened at all. A lot of the reason that the Allied forces were able to come in and take France back was because of the work that was done on the ground by the French resistance, basically from like the day that the Nazis rolled in. People think it was just French people running around with guns shooting people. And what's really fascinating, why I think it's so perfect and why people need to pay so much attention to it now, is because that is not what it was at all. So it's actually the French resistance, as we kind of know them, were networks, little tiny networks and communities of anarchists, communists, socialists, Republicans, Democrats, like all of that kind of everybody essentially who didn't want to be a Nazi. It was all of them working together, every kind of ideology working together. And it wasn't just shooting people and jumping people. They did things like the factory workers, the Nazis would come and be like, right, you have to produce trucks for us because we need you to produce trucks. They would go in and make the fuel dials faulty so that the people, the Nazis driving the trucks, wouldn't actually know how much gas was in them. And the trucks would run out of gas. They couldn't complete missions. They would loosen little parts or they would make parts so that they knew the part would fail in these Jeeps so that they wouldn't be usable.
Malicious compliance.
Exactly. Exactly. That was a big thing. They would just lower their production rates. They would all just start doing the absolute bare minimum work that they could get away with without getting in trouble, without getting shot. Just bare minimum. Absolute bare minimum. Some people just passed food. Like they would have an extra loaf of bread and they would pass that along to the resistance people who were off doing the fighting. Sometimes they would blow up bridges into certain towns and villages so that they could not be taken over unless they were going to drop people in by air, which was too expensive. It wasn't worth doing in that area, yada yada yada. Some people just passed information, like banned books, letters. They made sure letters got passed around between the Allied forces. They turned in tactical information to Allied forces. They would write and say, "Hi, I've got 14 Nazis in this village. You guys want to come take them out?" They take their piss breaks at 2. There's so
Nice.
many like little ways to resist, and that's what the French resistance did, and that's what enabled the Allied forces to come in was the work that the resistance did. So I think for a lot of the white people like me in America right now who are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like the French resistance is the kind of history that's very important right now.
Yeah, figure out where you fit
Yep.
and stop trying to panic and actually do all the things because
Yeah.
like you can only do so much. Like as someone who's a single parent of like disabled children, I know that the best I can do in my circumstances, if I was in America, but I do it here now, is building community with the people on my street
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
they know who I am and I know who they are. So
Hmm.
that if things were to turn terrible, I know that the people on the street are going to be helpful towards me and I'm going to be helpful towards them and it's not going to be a hard time, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So that's kind of my little history check-in. The French resistance. Simone Seguin is really
Or is
someone
she
that I think everyone should look up.
Such a badass.
She was such a badass.
Honestly,
Yeah. There was a
I didn't
lot
have
of
small kids. I would be her. That would be my life goal. I would be her. I would embody her all day, every
I love
day.
her.
She
She's
is a
such an
badass.
inspiration.
Holy shit.
Yeah, she never got married either. Had 6 kids with the lieutenant she fell in love with on the mission to
Yeah.
capture 25 Nazis.
She was like, these kids need my name,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
My name is gonna be passed on.
Yeah, I mean she was an international hero. So there's little acts of resistance. Simone Seguin, she ended up being a hero, but her first act was she stole a bicycle from a bunch of German soldiers and then she used that bicycle to deliver messages back and forth between the different groups. You know what I mean? Like little stuff like that. I saw a video last night from Minneapolis where they took an ICE vehicle and there was a big safe in the back of it and they ripped the safe out and ran off with it. It's probably got a ton of
There's a lot
documents
of
and stuff.
stuff happening like that. They
Yeah.
scare ice off so much that like they're leaving their cars and stuff.
Yep.
It's very,
Yep.
I'm like, they should be driving those, like they should be hot wiring those cars and sending them off into the river. Don't let them
Oh,
have
they
their
will be.
vehicles.
100% they will.
Trust them.
They absolutely will
Yeah.
be. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, there's lots of little ways to do that. And I didn't get taught a whole lot about the French Resistance in school. So I get that a lot other people probably had the same idea as me, right? I thought it was all Call of Duty, just going in with little guns and shooting Nazis in houses. And it wasn't. There was just a million ways to do it. So, if you were someone who works somewhere that supplies something for the baddies, stop doing your job well, man. Just like do it poorly, set it up to fail. Like there's so many great ways to do it to resist.
And the product, like
Yep. Yep. So, if
forget to
those people
put
are out
the
there and
thing
it's
in the thing.
yeah, it's not all about standing in the line taking pepper spray to the face. Not everybody is going to do it that way, right? Like we got to get them from the inside out. So,
Yeah.
that's my little history nugget. My little history nugget. All right,
Let
special
his
interests. Special interest, Connie. Do you have any special interests going at the
Oh
moment?
my God, surviving. No,
Yeah.
seriously, the school holidays have been wretched over here. I am trying to get into air dry clay at the moment, to be honest.
Oh, hell yeah.
And like, yeah. And so I've seen these like they're like old mirrors turned into like boards where you can put all like your jewelry and bits and pieces and
Uh-huh.
stuff in. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm like redesigning the frame and like putting like bugs and like little mushrooms sticking out as like little bowls and stuff from the frame. And then I'm
Hmm.
gonna paint all of that and it's gonna just be like this quirky little thing. I found this like 60s vibe, like real thick
Hmm.
canvasy material that has like these real old school flowers on it. And I'm gonna use that as the backing. It's gonna look amazing. But like my special interests are just
I love
craft
that.
related
She's
recently. That's
downplaying it. She's a fucking artist. She's like a mastermind. The kind of stuff she makes is ridiculous.
says the oil painter. Come the fudge
That's all
on.
I can do is oil paint. Connie could build you a fucking house if you wanted.
I, yeah, but I'm the type of gay that I'm like I see something I'm like I can do that. I don't need to buy
And she
that from you. I'll
does.
figure out how to do that
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
My next special interest is going to be learning how to make press-on nails for all of my friends so they don't have
Oh,
to
that's
buy them
cool.
anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I'm
cool.
slowly gathering little bits and pieces for that.
Uh, I'm stuck. I'm in an in-between place. I'm either gonna buy a theremin soon or a sewing machine, and I don't know which.
Oh my God. First of all, get both. You deserve both. Those both sound like fun fucking things to do. First of
Yeah.
all, I have a vintage sewing machine. This is one of my past special interests. I have a
Oh
vintage
right.
sewing machine,
Uh-huh.
and it's one that you don't use your foot for. You actually use your knee. It's got a little
Really?
bar that pops down, and it's like one of those old school ones where you don't
Oh.
like, so you don't like mess up your like Achilles or whatever. You just like lean your leg out a little bit to make it
Huh.
do the thing. It's so cool. I scored it for like $50 or some shit,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
really
like
good.
$250
Yeah.
worth of sewing machine. Like it's
I gotta
so cool.
find a sewing machine because I've decided I want to dress like a Georgian or not Georgian, like an Edwardian ghost, and I'm not
Do
gonna
it.
be able to do that purchasing clothes. I'm gonna have to make them.
Yeah, the
Um,
white moo. Do it.
I want to wear Victorian and Edwardian clothing, and
Yeah.
I'm
Or
tired
you
of
can make a
compromising on
corset.
that. So
Do
that's what
it.
I'm.
It's like there's a whole thing about like corsets and how like they're supposed to be for your body shape as well.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just the stock standard thing. There's like a whole thing about it.
Ah.
There's a specific set of corset.
Yeah, eventually
Um,
I'll start wearing Tudor gowns like that. That'll
yes,
be, I'll start dressing like a fucking
so
Tudor.
excited. Like,
But
you know, I'm
we'll
gonna
get
be like,
there.
I want one, send it over.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. My other special interest at the moment is I actually started reading the Mammoth book of Celtic mythology, which is
That's a
quite.
thick.
It's a
It's a
quite
thick book.
chunky little book, and it goes through all of them, not just Ireland. It goes through Ireland, Scotland, the Isle of Man, Cornwall, like all these Wales, all these different places. But what I found was quite interesting about it. So, preface this with I have a special interest in aliens. I love alien stuff. I don't know what I feel about aliens, but I love alien stuff. I love listening to alien stories. I listen to an alien podcast, okay?
Yeah.
I like it.
If she was like, she's the female version of Henry Zabrowski. And if you know who
I
that
would love to see an alien. I would love to meet an alien. If those motherfuckers promised me health care, I'd be gone with them tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow. But what is so interesting is if you're it sounds like it's not related at the moment, but I promise it is. If you're someone who follows a lot of the alien stuff, you know that a lot of the alien stories that are coming out is it's underwater, right? It's UWPs, like underwater phenomenon. There's a lot of theories that the aliens have never been coming from the sky. They're either coming from another dimension or they're coming from the ocean. And there's a lot of weird shit in South America that they've seen and videoed coming out of the oceans. Scary stuff, right? And I start reading this Celtic mythology, and wouldn't you know it, the Irish, that's like their creation myth, is that supposedly the good people, which were the children of Danu, came over from mainland Europe and they went to Ireland and they met the Fomori. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Who were
I'm not going to correct you because I know that my pronunciation, I know it's Danu or
there,
Danu or
yeah.
Danu, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But the Fomori were bad, and they came out of the oceans, and they fought the good guys on Ireland, and the good guys won, and these were supposed to be the old gods, okay? These were the old gods. But the children of the that came out of the ocean, the bad guys said, "Right, you win for now, but one day we're going to come back and we're going to run you off and we're going to take over and we're going to sow division and hatred and and that will be your destruction." And then supposedly that has come to pass, and the good children, the old gods, were run off into the hills where they became the Fae, and now supposedly only the leprechaun exists, which is also a bastardization of this major god, and this whole thing. I think that's super interesting when you consider how the alien stuff is kind of shaping out today. That they had these ancient legends of we had these crazy bad guys coming out of the ocean to try to kill us and take over, and then wouldn't you know it, I'll just read to you like the little description, like how they talk about it. This is the translated stuff, like after the battle. All life is transitory. Even your children are not immortal, my sister. This is the bad mother speaking to the good one. This time will come when they will be defeated. The time will come when no one will want gods and goddesses to nurture them, when they will be driven into the darkness like my children have been this day. The time approaches when the summers of Innisfail will be flowerless, when the cows shall be without milk, and the men will be weak, and the women shall be shameless. The seas will be without fish, the trees without fruit, and old men will give false judgments. The judges will make unjust laws, and honor will count for little, and warriors will betray each other and resort to thievery. There will come a time when there will be no more virtue left in this world. And that was supposed to be how we were supposed to know that that was kind of like the end and the bad guys had won. And that just
okay.
feels ooky spooky to me, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah, well, there's like a lot of different end time prophecy type
Oh,
of
yeah.
deal, like in different religions. That like sometimes I'm like, damn, like there's a this a bit too on point. Like
Yeah.
also to go along with the in the water over here in Aotearoa, there's the Patu Paerehe, and there is a few stories. I don't know the specific iwi that they come from, but essentially some of them are from the water. These are
Mm-hmm.
spiritual beings from the
See?
water. And it's not like the basic taniwha that people will hear about, but it
Uh-huh.
is like it's their version of the fae. There's the Patuparehi in the mist as
Uh-huh.
well, which is up in the hills,
Yeah.
and then and so there's like a
Echoes,
there's a lot
echoes,
of
echoes.
that. yeah,
It's also the
definitely.
same. The Celtic mythology even uses the same names as the Mesopotamians did. So like Danu was also a Mesopotamian goddess of creation. She was like the overarching mother god that everything
Yeah,
came
when you talk
from.
about like the separation of them and that like they're separating the land from the sea
Mhm.
and that sort of stuff, or like even like air from sea, sky
Yeah.
from sea type of thing, right? And the creation myth for Maori, from what I remember, is the Sky Father and the Earth Mother were so close together. They were like stuck together. There
Mhm.
was no light. There was just them two together, and they had like, I might get this wrong, but I think like seven or so kids.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, "Fuck this,
I
I'm
think they
done."
have
And
seven children. The seven children of Danu go to
there
Ireland.
you go. And
Yeah.
so one of the sons separated them, decided to push them apart,
Yeah.
and push the Sky Father up and the Sky Mother away, and
Huh.
that's how like Earth begun.
Yeah.
And within that, you've got like the reason why it rains is
Hmm.
because the Sky Father is crying out for the Earth
Oh,
Mother.
that's very
And it's like
beautiful.
really beautiful. Like it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And like when we do like Matariki celebrations and stuff, you'll make a meal and you'll like take it outside into your garden, and you will give like you'll open the meal up for the steam to rise up to the Sky Father, and then you will give the food to the earth
Huh.
once it's cooled down. Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
so they
very
can share a
nice.
meal.
Yeah, that's very sweet. That is so
Yeah.
sweet. But yeah,
And
that's
so
I like to just like find little weird I don't know why my brain's like aliens, man. It was the fucking
I mean, like,
aliens.
we live in an expanding universe. Like, how the fuck could there not be aliens?
Oh yeah, I
Like,
think it's mathematically
think of
impossible. I
all the
don't know if they
animals we
travel
have
through
on this earth.
space.
Like, some of the animals we have on this earth, how the fuck are they not alien? Like,
Well, that was so that's the kind of the weird thing, right? So like if I was just putting together like a stupid, insane QAnon, my brain likes to like, what if this like put together ridiculous QAnon conspiracies, right? You've got these old tales like this that are talking about the bad people came out of the water. The Egyptians also had stories about the bad people coming out of the water to conquer the kingdom and all this kind of shit. What if the Greys are the bad people in the water and they've seated themselves with the elite fucks that are eating the planet. And those are the evil fucks that our ancient ancestors who were still human tried to warn us about. That's
I
just
mean,
my little, that's my fun.
if I'm gonna play devil's advocate, look how much advertising in the world there is to
Yeah.
desensitize us to what the grey aliens would look like.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. They're
Remember the whole
freaks, man.
movie? Yeah.
So that's, I don't honestly think that that's what happened, but it's just fun. That's where, like, if I
No,
would to write a
love that
sci-fi
because as
conspiracy
someone who like
fantasy.
fell, yeah, as someone who fell down the crunchy pipeline at a dangerous pace, like
Yeah.
I know how fucked up those QAnoners think. I
Yeah.
I to this day have a little giggle anytime I hear some of the things that they still believe, and I'm like, damn, you guys, like,
I,
how did you not take a U-turn at some point? Why are you
yeah.
still doing this to yourselves?
Yeah, you have to ingest the alien stuff with a lot of consciousness for that very reason, because it's very much an all right pipeline. But also, I'm gonna say it till the dying day. People say that Greys, when they encounter them, smell like rotten eggs and sulfur and like wet dog hair. And what do they
Ooh.
say white people smell like when we get wet? Burning wet dog hair. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I want answers on the smell. I want some answers. So yeah, there's my little special interest at the moment. All seriousness aside, I do love reading this mythology because it is very much, it's not aliens, but it is our ancient ancestors were trying to warn us about putting greedy and powerful people in place. They literally, the Bible tries to warn people over and over again, hey, the person that you're stoning to death is probably telling the truth. Maybe don't do that. Maybe listen to him instead of listening to like greedy, powerful fucks. People don't listen to it. Our ancient ancestors told us again and again and again and again and again in like every mythology story. They set
You'll
everything
find
up.
in many cultures stories that overlay how like you need to be careful about certain things and certain people's behaviors.
Yeah. over and over and over again. People don't want to listen. We just keep doing the same shit over and over and over again. But I do highly recommend this, The Mammoth Book of Celtic Myths and Legends. Peter Beresford Ellis is who it's by. It's like packed full of stuff. The guy grew up in a family that passed down these old Irish stories and things, and he translates directly from the original texts where he can find them. It's really beautifully written. And it's actually a pretty cheap book. I think I got this for like £7 or something like that. But it is dense. It is dense. I'm just trying to read it in chunks and then kind of like take a breather with Game of Thrones or something else to the side because it
Yeah,
is
well,
thick.
like when you're digesting those sorts of things, you do have to take it in chunks because like there is an overlay of like information that you're trying to digest,
Yeah.
like, okay, was there a deeper meaning to the story or was it just a story? Is there
Mhm.
something I can learn
Oh,
from
there's
that
always
bit that I
deeper
can
meaning. Yeah.
think about? Huh?
Always, always. But also, one thing I did learn from this, and I think we should bring back, is that poets used to be considered like the most powerful people in Ireland, and you weren't even allowed to say anything bad. You were not allowed to correct them because if you did, the poet would curse you. And if you were cursed by a poet, that was it. That was like the end of your life. That was the end of your
And getting
rule.
cursed out by a wordsmith, that's some badass shit
And I
right
think we
there.
should bring that back because I have won poetry awards in the past.
Well,
And
that's a
I,
recognition of how powerful words are and how our brain takes
exactly.
that shit on. Like, you have to speak nicely to yourself out loud. Because if you say a mean thing about yourself out loud to yourself, your brain doesn't know any fucking different and it
No.
believes that
It
shit.
does. Yeah,
It's
absolutely it
on an
does.
autopilot that we don't really have control of. Like, I'm serious. Like, we got to be kind to ourselves.
I think that's probably a good message to go with that one. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to
Yeah,
yourself and then be kind to others.
yeah. Say pretty poetry to yourself or something, because like
Yeah.
you're gonna be just like them poets cursing out people. You're gonna be cursing yourself out. Like it's not a
Yeah,
good
there's a whole
time.
story in here about a king that almost lost his entire kingdom because he corrected a poet. And the poet was like, I'm going to have your whole kingdom or I'm going to have your wife. Which one's it going to be? Actually, just kidding. I'm going to take both. And then the king had to like literally get a god to come from the underworld to stop the poet from destroying his kingdom. So we should bring
Yeah,
that back. No,
yeah.
let's
Imagine
bring
having
it
that
back.
much power as a wordsmith. That's some badass shit right there.
Yeah, absolutely insane. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's gonna be, I think, our episode for today. Just a little bit of history, a little bit of aliens, a little bit of some weird chat and shits. And then yeah, just having some fun. Just having some fun with things.
Yeah, trying to be the distraction that everyone needs for a little bit while we all figure out where we're at, where we're going, and what kind of world we want to start living in, and what kind of ways we need to be to create that. And sometimes you need a little break, hear a little
Absolutely.
funny hee haw, and take a little jab at some billionaires who could fix all of it. And just be kind to yourself because we're at the start of something that could be big.
Hmm.
Lots of big shifts like this took years before people actually took their finger out of their buttholes.
Yeah,
So we're
literally
we're just
years.
at the beginning and reminding everyone that it's okay to laugh. It's okay to have a 5-minute breather. It's all right to make that second coffee. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely have the second coffee. Yeah,
yeah, have
100%.
have that second helping of that food because you probably will need it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We will be back next week with the body neutrality episode. Just didn't feel right this week, just felt a little bit too heavy. So make
Yeah.
sure you're following us on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts so that you are the first to know about that episode when we drop it next week. You can follow us on Instagram. I'm at the real EB Johnson. Connie, where can they follow you?
Need to change my name on Instagram because it's so hard to say. Rainbow Moonbeam. Rainbow's Moonbeam.
Rainbow
I
Moonbeam.
need to change that shit up so bad. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
you can find her. You can find her on my Instagram as
Yeah,
well.
please
But
do.
yeah,
You
if you want to support the
can.
podcast, if you want to help us grow this thing, which doesn't just include this podcast, I'm adding other podcasts to this kind of little network as well. We've got Scandal Queens going, which is my pop culture podcast. I'm going to try to talk Connie into doing her own podcast at some point. Um,
What?
yeah, yeah.
You're all finding out with me in the moment,
Yeah,
and it's
there you
going to
go.
come
There's
off
the big
face
moment. Yeah, we're
real.
gonna get Connie doing her own podcast as well.
What do you
Um,
mean?
yeah, so if you want to help us grow this thing, you can head to patreon.com/Nooska. And yeah, there's all different ways you can support us there. We put the episodes out there ad free and also some other little bibs and bobs and behinds. And I put my other podcast episodes on there. So go ahead and support us at patreon.com/Nooska. And for everything else, yeah, TikTok, Instagram, and follow us on Apple. Nooska.
I'm never going to stop doing it that way. It just has to be the Nintendo sound.
It's going to have to be. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.